Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 mod career mode here with Fernando Alonso and his McLaren Renault for the Japanese Grand Prix round number 17 today. If you did miss the previous round at the Russian Grand Prix, uploaded a couple of days ago, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But looking forward to this one. Suzuka, always a favourite of mine, especially on this year's game with the resurfaced track in Sector 1. Always love driving it, and I think it should be quite a fun one for us today. Strategically, might be able to do something a little bit different maybe to mix it up, and obviously, spoiler warning, after a fantastic result for us, which allowed us to close up on Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton as well last race, I think we need to perform very well if we want to try and keep up this maybe late title challenge here in this series. But let's move on to the starting grid then before we move on into the race. So here's how the starting grid looks for the 2018 Japanese Grand Prix, round number 14 of this season. And just like last episode, it's going to be an all front row for the Silver Arrows. Lewis Hamilton on pole position once again in this series, with his teammate Valtteri Bottas in second place. And a familiar sight on the second row, all Ferrari in red, Sebastian Vettel third place, Kimi Räikkönen in fourth. So keeping the pressure on there on Hamilton, but Vettel's really the one that has to buck up there, having a few spells of bad luck in the last couple episodes. But then it's Nico Hülkenberg, surprisingly, in P5 ahead of both Red Bull cars. Daniel Ricciardo only can manage P6 then. Hülkenberg fantastic with his highest qualifying position to date in the series in P5. Max Verstappen then has to settle for P7, and then there we are, driving as Fernando Alonso in P8. I guess you could say best of the rest almost, but Hülkenberg really does highlight how good of a position he's done there with his teammate down in P9. So he's really managed to get a step ahead, but Carlos Sainz will be buoyed by that in P9. Both Renaults in the top 10. Van Dorn rounds out in P10 then for the top 10. Sergio Perez P11 then, with Romain Grosjean in P12. So Perez getting in the mix with a bit of a checkerboard there with the Force India and Haas guys, with Kevin Magnussen in P13 and then Esteban Ocon in P14. Both those teams are still wrapped up in a constructors fight in the midfield there. And then Sergei Sorokin does a fantastic job to be in P15, so much further ahead than his teammate Lance Stroll, ahead of both Toro Rosso cars of Brendan Hartley in P16 and Pierre Gasly in P17, alongside his fellow junior Charles Leclerc in P18, and then followed by P19 Marcus Ericsson, and then Lance Stroll in last place, really highlighting a great job that the Russian Sergei Sorokin's done. But that rounds out the grid then for the Japanese Grand Prix. So starting from P8, pretty decent, and Nico Hülkenberg, like we mentioned, in P5, there gives me some hope that we might be able to fight here. The Renault's clearly going from strength to strength, really, in the last couple of episodes, and so strategy-wise, looks like a two-stop here with the Tyre Wear from the 2018 mod, but we might be able to convert that to one-stop, and no rain forecast, so definitely considering converting to the one-stop, using a set of mediums after our super softs. But like we've done a couple of times in the last couple of races, just keeping our options open, because you never know, like Russia, something might come up in the last final lap. So let's just see how it goes then as we go to 5 red lights then to the Japanese Grand Prix. 27 laps ahead of us here around Suzuka, and we're underway as the lights are out. And it's a poor start there from Daniel Ricciardo. We're going to slice our way through both Red Bull cars in the middle. Meanwhile, Raikkonen and Vettel go side by side with Hamilton there. There's contact and Bottas into the lead. Hülkenberg slow into turn 1, and Hamilton off pole position has absolutely bottled it, and he's down to P4. Hülkenberg maintains P5. We're unable to overtake him. We have another look on the outside in the S section, but ultimately I think he's just going to have it oh so close between my front left and his rear right tire, but unable to make the pass. But look at that, Hamilton down to P4, Bottas in P1, the Ferraris are 2-3, and so that's a fantastic start there from the guys in red, because Hamilton obviously still in the title fight, but the main man, Ricciardo, who's leading the championship by a fair few points, for all of us up here, it's a great thing to see him bottle that start, and he's down below his teammate Max Verstappen in P8, I believe. And now we're trying to have a go at Hülkenberg. Some contact is made in Spoon as I tried to go down the inside, a bit eager into Spoon on the exit. Didn't quite work out, so I'm going to have to wait until the back straight now before 130R. We'll get the move done there. It's going to be very close. Give him the room on the inside there and just get a little bit close to the green stuff. But we're up into P5 then, and up ahead, look at that, the two Ferraris go side by side in the last chicane. Fantastic, you love to see it. And Hamilton not too far behind, and with these guys squabbling, Bottas that's fast up the Grand Prix. Looks like on the mini-map he is waltzing away in P1, whilst these guys go 3 abreast into turn 1 just about. I can see if I squint my eyes up ahead. I think it's Hamilton and Vettel. They made contact. Hamilton's on the grass. Hamilton, Vettel made contact. The championship rivals have come to wars, and Hamilton is nearly off. We go around the outside. We've gained a position. It's a free position effectively, and so I was going to say, if they squabble enough, maybe we can get in the mix, and we literally have done that. So let's look at a replay now and watch that back. So the two Ferraris were side by side in the last corner. There was Räikkönen up into P2 now, and Vettel P3. Hamilton comes knocking. Meanwhile, Vettel's trying to have a look at Räikkönen, so they're nearly 3 wide. Into turn 1 though, Vettel on the outside get pushed wide, but Hamilton spins himself almost on the grass with the contact he made by effectively pushing Vettel wide. He forced his own car into an error and almost spun it out of the Grand Prix on the grass there. He was very lucky to come back onto the circuit, and lucky for me I didn't slam into the back of him, and now we've just been as aggressive with him as he was to Vettel, and we're up into, we're going to keep P4, and we're trying to get up into P3 if we can, as Vettel looks like he's sustained some sort of damage maybe from that battle, because you can see on the minimap clearly Räikkönen's now really waltzed away from Vettel, and vice versa. Bottas has done that to Räikkönen whilst they're fighting, but Vettel, I think he's weak now. I think he might have suffered some sort of damage after going wide there. Maybe a little bit of front wing damage potentially, we don't know, but look at this, the amount we're closing. Surely something's wrong. Down the inside of 130R, we leave in the room, but flatter ultimately at the apex, and we're up into P3, into the podium position early on into this Grand Prix. Plenty to go though. It's a marathon, not a sprint, so we need to keep our head down on lap 3 onto lap 4 and just try and continue to do the job at the moment. In standing, make sure Vettel's going to come back. We're going to have to do some defending now. Where will he go? To the left or the right? We're going to stick on the racing line, and ultimately Vettel doesn't make any sort of actual punchy move there, so that kind of does allude to him having some sort of issue. Otherwise I would have thought he would have tried to make some sort of move. Meanwhile, Hamilton, he's definitely got something going wrong, because he's going very slowly now. He's being attacked by both Red Bull cars and my teammate Van Dorn behind him, and both Renault cars. Look at that, it's one Red Bull down the inside. Will it be the other? I think that's Verstappen now, and it's Ricciardo held up by Hamilton now, so that's great for me. Ricciardo, Hamilton, Vettel, all three of those guys in the top 3 of the championship are behind me. So I said at the end of the Russian Grand Prix episode, you know, there might be a late chance for us to have a title challenge with Fernando Alonso. How crazy would that be? And with these 3 guys behind us, it's all just coming into play. So we keep chipping away like this. You know, if we were to finish like this with them 3 behind us, we're just chipping away a little bit by a little bit, you know, to get a few points on them. We could actually get into this. You know, we've got 5 rounds to go, I think. So it's plenty of time, and never say never in Formula 1. But meanwhile now, we're going to get to the end of our stint. You can see the amount of oversteer I'm getting now on these super soft tyres. Going to come in on lap 9 on for a set of medium tyres now, so I am going to try and see if we can pull off a 1-stop here today and go to the end, because I've seen the situation. Räikkönen and Bottas seem a bit too fast for me, like they are nowhere to be seen up ahead. Räikkönen's doing a great job to chase after his fellow Finn, and so like we've seen a few times in this series so far, the 2 Finns looking very dominant indeed. So I'm going to try and settle down and hold track position in P3 if I can, and that's going to be the plan today for me, to try and hold on to the podium and stay ahead of all 3 of those championship rivals. We just come out ahead of the Sauber then of Marcus Ericsson. Yellow flags behind us on the pit straight, and that's going to be for one man, Nico Hülkenberg, retiring. That will be, and we're going to look at a replay now, and it's going to be unfortunately an engine failure for the German there, or a mechanical failure I should say, as he hits the 100-meter board, and confetti of the board goes up in the air, and he's retired and parked up. A shame for him. Obviously he got P5 in quali, and we overtook him early on the Grand Prix, but he's still looking good. So unfortunate there, because both Renaults, like I said, in the last 3 episodes, they've looked very, very good, the two Renaults there. Now we move on to our POV. We're trying to chase after Charles Leclerc. You can see having a lot of issues now, just like in real life actually, with Leclerc v Alonso. Alonso having issues trying to overtake Leclerc here. He brake checked me into the hairpin there, and then I had a bit of a traction zone issue on the exit there, getting a bit flustered. So I have to compose myself and try and readjust myself to try and overtake the young Monegascan here down the main straight now. Rich Mix going on the right hand side. He's on soft tyres. I'm on the mediums, but we've got the straight line speed in that Renault there. Unlike in real life, no drag issues in this McLaren in the 2018 mod career we're doing here today. And we're up into P8 now, chasing after Brendan Hartley into turn 1 on lap 11. The Toro Rosso Honda doing okay at the moment, although he's on an alternative strategy like I suspect Leclerc is here. And you can see even with the medium be soft, because my mediums are so much newer, we can have the grip to go around the outside. It's a lovely, lovely move on the New Zealand man, and we're up into P7 then as we climb the hill, and we can chase after Esteban Ocon, who's on medium, so he's going even longer than these guys. So he might be a little bit trickier, perhaps, with the Mercedes engine. We'll see. Rich mix flowing, DRS wide open. We are gaining this speed into turn 1. It won't be enough to maybe make a move into turn 1, but we can set something up maybe into the S section. Maybe I spoke too soon. We had a little look on the outside of turn 1, but now into the beginning of the S section, down the inside. There we go, right the curb a little bit. Give Ocon the room. He's given us the room equally, so fair race there from Esteban. Fair dues to him, and we're up into P6, and now we'll chase after Kevin Magnussen. So plethora of overtakes here at the Japanese Grand Prix right now as we get through these guys as quickly as possible. Remember, for a one-stop to really work, we have to make sure we don't lose a lot of time here on this strategy, because you know, ultimately the further ahead I can be, it will kind of negate any kind of loss in time I'll have when these tasks start to go off at the end of the Grand Prix. So pretty good for me to get through these guys ultimately as fast as I can. So down the inside now of K-Mag there, also on the medium tyres, going as long as he possibly can, and so plenty of people actually on the one stop, it looks like there. So that's kind of buoyed my strategy choice there, because on the race screen, of course, that wasn't even an option. It wasn't even default in my engineer's mind that the one stop was on. So to see so many of guys, albeit in the midfield, try the one stop, it's kind of, you know, give me some confirmation that I think this could be a good strategy here today. Ultimately though, I think the other guys might be trying a two stop there because they've got maybe the pace. You know, the McLaren, you know, it's been up there. We don't have the ultimate pace, but with a bit of rub of the green, we've been able to fight for the positions in the last couple of episodes, and today's no different as we move up into onto lap 8 in P5 and chasing after P4. We closed up on Romain Grosjean. We almost pounced on him into turn 1. We do so in the second phase of turn 1. Couldn't quite do it in the first instance there. We have the kind of initial break point, but into the apex of the corner, we got that done down the inside. Little cheeky move there. I think we caught Grosjean napping ultimately, and we're up into V4. And now we've got the final man for position here, and the final man out to sync at the Grand Prix, which is Sergio Perez on mediums, and then it will be Räikkönen and Bottas, who are in a world of their own in P2 and P1, I might add. So really, it is just a case of us trying to hold P3 now today versus Vettel, Hamilton, the two Red Bulls of Ricciardo and Verstappen, and those two Renaults. Yeah, I think we're literally going to have to hope for a Russia ×2 miracle if we want to try and catch up to P2 or P1. But here we go, closing on to Perez now. Took us a whole lap to do it. I was quite surprised actually, but down the inside now, side by side in the middle of 130 are always lovely to see, but it's not done there. Into the break, under chicane. Perez tries to come back at us there. Ultimately though, we will get that, and we'll try and get away from him now and just try and get our head down and keep the pace up as well as we can to hopefully not lose too much time for the guys behind us on faster tyres. Thinking about those guys behind us then, we're going to look at some action here on the replay cameras with Sebastian Vettel. I said, you know, he and Hamilton look like to maybe have some issues after their contact in the collision at turn 1, and so this is Van Dorn trying to go side by side with Marcus Ericsson. Van Dorn overtakes Ericsson pretty easily. Vettel though, down the inside here, is having a bit of issue here as Ericsson fights back a little bit. They're still neck and neck into the chicane, and Ericsson putting up a great fight against Vettel, and Vettel, you can clearly see, you know, nowhere are the top cars. Red Bulls are nowhere to be seen, neither is Hamilton. I think he might be even further back here, and so Vettel, along with my other championship rivals, may be in quite a pickle, which is going to be great for us by the end of this Grand Prix in terms of the points difference here. Now you can see this is Lewis Hamilton, and he's being chased down by the Sauber Alfa Romeo here. He's being overtaken by the Sauber Alfa Romeo. Hamilton clearly in trouble in this Grand Prix, and you love to see it really. Another bit of bad luck here, this time for Hamilton rather than Bottas from the Russian Grand Prix, and so that is really going to play well into our hands for the championship. Not only for me though, but also for Bottas and Räikkönen's sake. You know, if they're fighting for the lead in the second place, either one, you know, both of them are going to gain quite a bit on their respective teammates here this afternoon, and they weren't too far off actually. You know, the entire top 6 fight, I want to say, in the driver's standings is pretty damn close. It could definitely all swing either way in these last couple of rounds if the bad luck really continues this way for either or people, depending on how you want to look at it. But we come out now on a set of super soft tyres. So you might be thinking, what on earth is happening here? I've made a second pit stop. I thought I was going to try the one stop arrow. Well, actually, I looked at the situation here. We're at P6, and all these cars ahead of us are all midfield runners that we should technically be faster than on super soft tyres, and I'm not losing any time to my quote-unquote main people I'm battling behind me. All these guys are out of sync. They're on slower tyres. We should be able to re-overtake these guys very easily here, and so you're about to see that. So keep it calm. We should be able to get back into P3. No worries here. Just means I'm a bit more comfortable at this end of the race. You know, down the inside now of Carlos Sainz. So bit of contact into the beginning of 130R. Spaniard v Spaniard. Lovely stuff though, and up into P5. But yeah, comparing to warm medium tyres to fresher super softs, I'd rather do this strategy, have a bit of fun overtaking these cars whilst I do it, and then be very, very comfortable in this Grand Prix. Now you can see two cars go side by side, Romain Grosjean and the Force India here, and they make contact, and Perez almost into the grass like Hamilton, but just like Hamilton, it's going to be Grosjean there that goes slow on the exit of turn 1, and we're up into P4 now, and literally just this one move now separates me and P3. So literally no worries at all making an extra pit stop. It pretty much was a case of I was comfortable. We get hit with a bit of dirty air there, but I was comfortable in my position. I may as well just be even more comfortable on a fresher set of tyres. So here we go now, patiently waiting till the exit of Spoon on lap 23 now to make this move. Rich mix going there, and we're going to close up with Slipstream. Perez, he's going to be completely defenseless. We're on the right-hand side now, on the outside there of the circuit, and we're up into P3. Then Bottas at the moment, P2. And looks like Räikkönen has done very well to close up his fellow compatriot to get first place, it looks like. Because Bottas, remember, was a fair few seconds ahead of that fight between the two Ferraris and Hamilton earlier on the Grand Prix. So Räikkönen's been chipping away all race to try and close back up to Bottas, and he's done so, and he's actually going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Fair play to Räikkönen, fair play. So Bottas finished up in P2, we're in P3, and Sergio Perez in P4, and you can see nowhere to be seen is Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, or Daniel Ricciardo. So it's going to be a fantastic result for us. I'm really happy with that. Could have been maybe better, maybe, potentially if we didn't get held up at the beginning of that Grand Prix, but I've got to be pretty damn happy because I think a lot of our rivals didn't score any points. But there you go, Kimi Räikkönen wins the Grand Prix for Ferrari, and so that should see the guys in red still pretty comfortable in the constructors there. But once again, Fernando Alonso, good to see him on the podium in the McLaren, unlike in real life there. But there are the full race results. Carlos Sainz in P5 does fantastically there for the French outfit. Verstappen in P6, and look at that. No Ricciardo, no Hamilton, no Vettel in the points-paying positions. You love to see it, boys. Lovely stuff. 15 points there in the bag. None for Ricciardo, Vettel, or Hamilton. And so, in the Drivers' Championship, Ricciardo and Hamilton stay put on those points. Räikkönen now moves up in the third place. Vettel and Räikkönen effectively swap positions. I'm still in P4 due to Räikkönen getting that win. You can see now the points gap has been closed down quite considerably from 206 to my 183. So, like I said, if we keep up this momentum, keep up the consistency, and these guys keep getting hit with this bad luck they have had in the last 3 episodes, we could be really in this championship fight by the end of this. We could take this to a last deciding race in Abu Dhabi if we're lucky. Because Vettel, look at that. He's got so much bad luck. He was leading the championship at one point, and now he's 173 to 206. So you got to feel for him. You got to feel for him. But in the Constructors' Championship, then Ferrari on the flip side, though, his team Ferrari doing very well. Still ahead of the Merc guys, and Red Bull trying to close up on Mercedes, but still unable to do it this race. And we're at McLaren in a world of our own in P4 there. Renault still managing to keep ahead of Haas after initially being behind Haas by quite a few points. But the upgrades in the last couple of episodes have really come through for the French outfit, and well ahead of the Americans there, who are in their own fight now. We're trying to stay off Force India. But guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, then smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Aarava. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.